the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Wheaties! I got weed pops!
Nick and Bill?
Wwyatt. I got that one down.
For some reason I thought you said Riley online.
That's my last name.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's masquerading as you.
He is, yeah. He's much younger.
He doesn't care.
You're catfishing the world.
It might be, yeah.
He gets a lot of swipes.
Which way? Right or wrong?
Oh, shit, yeah, you're aging me there. You talking Tinder? You're a big Tinder fan, right?
Heavy's the head that holds the crown. Well, yeah, so we'll do a quick ad read. I'll chop the fluff in the middle and everything like that. But we're coming to you this week, friends and family, for a new episode of Stoned Appetit. Brought to you by our sponsors, Kyoto Botanicals. That is spelled KYOTO Botanicals.com. Go check out Kyoto Botanicals. For those that have seen it on social media, both me and my dog have been on the CBD train, mainly since both of our injuries, and we're still hunting for that right partner. Luckily for us, Kyoto reached out, we tried the product, and we fucking love it. They have the salve, they have the gummies, they have the tincture, and they have the doggy treats. They have just about everything you may need if you're looking for a CBD product. So go check out KyotoBotanicals.com and use Stoned Appetit for 20% off your order. That's right, Stoned Appetit. Spelled just like our social media name, 20% off. So if you have achy joints and pains, if your dog has achy joints or pains, if your dog has issues flying or traveling in the car, if you're having trouble getting to sleep, check out our friends over at KyotoBotanicals.com. They have something for everyone, including that anxious-ass stepmom or mom that everybody has that worries we drink too much. Parlay that into, welcome back to another week, another episode. It's me, Kip. To my right, as always, I got CB. How are you, Chris?
Dude, I'm great. Preparing for, is it snowpocalypse? But when you hear this, it will have already happened.
Yeah, so spring is about to sprung, but before that, we're going to get that nice winter dump. We're about to get just like snow shells of cocaine on the patio. We're talking 10 to 20 inches of fresh pow coming through the mountain or through town this weekend. It's going to be primo. Huge.
Oh, but, hold on. By the way, that was a really nice ad read.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You went on a little too long, but it was you had it going.
We are nothing if not wordy, so shout out to our friends at Kyoto Botanicals. And let's give a seamless plug as well. Shout out to our friends at Postino Wine Cafe. We're coming to you from their low-high location today. You're going to hear that 90s R&B in the background. We'll have Zane dip that volume down a little bit, but we're fired up for the episode. It's our first in-person episode in God knows how long. And we are fired up to be up here at Postino. As everybody knows, Monday and Tuesday they do $25 board and bottles. But if you're here like we are today before 5 o'clock, it's 5 before 5, which means $5 glasses of wine, no matter which you pick. Today we're sipping on a nice little Nebbiolo blend. I think it's a 70-30. Bottle retails for $20. Bitch is $5. So we're enjoying ourselves up here at Postino Wine Cafe, and as we mentioned, spring is sprung, so come hit them up for happy hour, and after the snow, the patio will be popping. So before we dive into it and introduce our guests, let's go ahead and get comfortable on the couch. All right, Chris, so let's introduce our guest. Today we are talking with the men, the myths, the legends behind the one, the fine cannabis Dispensary, Diego Pellicer, Nick and Bill. Bill, how are we today, gentlemen?
Doing good, man. We appreciate you having us out today. We're happy to be
definitely.
here.
Okay, so the first one was Nick, the second one was Bill, but we're going to go ahead and do the round table conversation. So every episode we like to start off the same way, and it's just to let our listeners get to know your voice as well as get to know you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I'm going to let Chris take the reins. Chris, go ahead and do the honor.
All right, let's do it. So, Nick.
Yes.
Are we a transplant or a native?
I am a native.
Native.
So I've been here. I was born in 1989 in downtown Denver, St. Joseph's Hospital.
Wait, what hospital?
St. Joseph's.
Hell yeah. So that's one of our favorite questions to ask natives is, what's your hospital? Okay, so I used to do medical sales. I know the St. Joe's PSL area. Not a bad vibe.
Yep. So I've been out here most of my life. I've traveled. I've lived in New Hampshire, Arizona, Tennessee, Utah, Montana, but Colorado's home.
Navy, baby?
No. My dad
wait, you just named a bunch of
He was a fugitive.
You just named a bunch of landlocked states. What made you go all the bip and bop around?
Gosh, I mean, my family's just kind of moved around. My dad's worked as a marketing business executive my whole life, so he's always traveling, and we moved around a lot, and I ultimately stayed here, so.
I like where your head's at. You knew what was great, so you bipped and bopped a little bit around. When did you come back to Colorado?
Oh, I came back in 2007. I came back from New Hampshire.
Shit, one crunchy state to another. I like it.
So that was right before the legalization, by
the green boom?
Yeah. So how did we came back in 2007, how did we get into the marijuana game?
Yep.
Whoa, you got real quick into that. Should we introduce Bill before we do that?
No, I enjoyed learning about my boss.
So I come from food and beverage, and I transferred into cannabis. Ultimately just to learn about it, really. I mean, I've smoked weed my whole life, and I've always been passionate about it. And I took a job as a trimmer working for Hemp Temps, give or take 10 years ago now. So I started at the bottom. I worked my way up. I took that job just to cut weed. I remember walking into those grows and putting scrubs on and just cutting weed and being fascinated by it. And from there, I'd go wait tables later in the night and do my restaurant thing, and ultimately, it just turned into cannabis full time.
So I know you're full of shit a little bit, because in my early days, I remember trimming, and they didn't give a fuck what we wore.
Yeah.
This was the early one. It was the hourly wages, and they were like, you can also take the wax off your scissors home with you.
It was the only clean grow in 2007, by the way.
Yeah. I can tell you which grow it was. It was Gaia's Garden, probably 10 years ago, and they'd make you scrub up. It was cool.
Look at that. So somebody was setting protocols before there were even protocols. That makes you feel better. It's kind of like you see that chef that's taking a piss in the bathroom next to you, and he shakes it, and he's about to leave, and he's like, you know what, I'll wash my hands. You're like, oh, thank God. I'm glad to hear. Thanks again.
Sure.
All right. So before we keep navigating into learning more about Bill's boss, let's learn a little bit about Bill. Chris?
Bill, transplant or native?
Transplant.
Nice. Where are you coming from?
Miami, Florida.
Miami.
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. So for those that can't see, he's wearing the 90s / Miami Vice colored Miami Heat throwback swag. We're a pro Nugs podcast here, so
There's nothing wrong with the Nuggets.
You and your Jimmy Butler can fuck off. We're a Jokic positive podcast.
Understandable, yeah. I like the Joker. He's good. He's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
The
so Bill, how did we leave the coast of Miami and venture out here to Colorado?
Now that I think about it, after this weekend, it's probably insane to think about, but I was a golf professional for 30 years. I ran country clubs and golf courses, and
you son
I loved
of a bitch.
it.
I thought you're a PGM.
PGA?
No. Yeah, but not a PGA Tour player.
No. Okay.
Okay, I almost got erect right
now. If I was a PGA Tour player, you guys would have never met me.
I'm a missing
I would not be here.
We wouldn't be shooting this at Tocinos.
Yeah,
probably Tocinos.
Yeah, we would be doing this at Cherry Hills.
I was a good player at one time. In my early 20s, 30s, I just couldn't putt.
You drive for show putt?
Yeah.
Well, all right, continue on the story. Sorry, you just got backseated, Nick.
Hey, no problem, man.
We're a pro golf podcast as well.
Oh, are you really?
Team
Yeah.
Tiger all the way. I traveled to Paris to watch the man.
Yeah,
I love him.
big Tiger
dearly.
fan,
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so tell us, where'd you get your PGA degree?
Actually, I did. I'm so old, by the way, that we didn't have a PGA degree at the time. We had to go to business school.
There was no program for turf management?
There was no program. It was called PGA Business School. It was like phase 1 and phase 2. This was like 1993, 94. You had to make sure you had to shoot under like 80 for 2 rounds or something. It was crazy. That was simple. It was pretty simple, actually, back then.
Fuck you, bro. Just maintaining an 8 handicap.
Well, here's what happened. I was actually trying to play the PGA Tour. I played a lot of mini tours. And then
Hooters?
I played all those things, and then I realized I just hit 16 greens and shot 72, and the guy next to me hit 4 greens and shot 67. What is wrong? It was just I just couldn't putt. I couldn't make anything.
I mean, and nowadays there's so many gadgets and methodologies to get you there. It was just you and Roy McAvoy sitting in an RV with all the mechanics.
Basically, tin cup. No doubt about that.
For those that don't know, we're a big movie podcast, especially that of the 90s. So 89, baby, you're safe too.
I was born in 69.
We weren't going to date you there, Bill.
That's fine. I don't care. Okay. I'm young at heart.
So, no, 2 things. I went to Mississippi State. As most of our listeners know, we're a big PGM school.
Yeah.
And they used
that was one of the first ones, I believe.
We're still atop of us and like Tennessee are up there, Arizona State. But when you said that, I was like, fuck, he's a golfer, because that was one of the contingencies was you had to be able to, like, not necessarily, you just had to be a stick. You had to be able to fucking play. Because you had to maintain that level of, I know how to play to hold my own on the course and be able to gauge a course.
Right.
But you're before that, so you obviously don't have that skill.
But we had to work under a PGA Class A Pro for 2 years before we were even allowed to get into the next level, which was Business School 2 at the time. Yeah, so I had to work under a PGA professional and... Yeah.
I mean, we could do a whole episode just on y'all's history. We don't even have to talk.
He's a golf nut.
Bill still sticks him. Don't let him fool you. He still sticks him, man.
I knew
when it's not white on the ground, we play.
Quick question. As a professional at a golf course, how many times did you have to ride the cart to pick up all the driving range balls?
Did you ever do...
That was my first job. Picking up range balls.
Fucking loved it on those kids in the morning.
And we used to have a steel cage. And all my friends and all the members would just love just drilling 2 irons into my cage.
Yeah.
But 1984, there was a little thing that came out called a Walkman, and I put that on my head. Never bothered me after that.
That's right. We worked on that like punch shot, right when they started.
Never gave a shit.
Just close that club
the
face.
The Walkman. That was awesome.
I love it. You've dated yourself like 6 times.
We've
only done this episode for 10 minutes.
It wasn't a Discman, it was a Walkman.
Yeah, I know. He was like...
Oh, the Discman was awesome. What was that, like 4 years later?
Wait, excuse me. That was like 92 when you were in college was when we brought out the
I had
CD.
just actually went to school. I got a golf scholarship. Left because I won my first invitational.
You were that guy?
I said, I'm turning pro. Fuck this. I'm turning pro. I go out there and I'm like, it didn't work. And so I went back to school, graduated, and then decided I wanted to be a club professional. That's how it worked.
Okay, and then so working with fairways and greens, I mean, easy segue into cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how much weed were you smoking back then? They don't drug test there, do they?
No, they didn't.
Were you an NAIA student? Are you talking like D1? You're punching greens over here. Throwing fucking darts at Miami University?
No, I went to Harvard.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? Yeah. So you're not our first Ivy Leaguer. We had Columbia. Shout out to Brian. But you were definitely the nerdiest guy we have on the podcast today.
I tell you what, I didn't know that my boss here actually lived in Boston for a few years.
I worked for some assholes myself. Yeah. I worked for a tech company out of Boston.
What? I hate telling people that. It's not on my resume. I didn't want them to hire me because of that.
Harvard swag.
For those that are, he's wearing a Harvard alum hat. For those that are at home.
Yeah.
This is we're not very handsome guys. Well, we are not handsome guys.
You're better looking than I am.
They don't know that.
No, they don't.
So we're telling them more about
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Harvard gives you a few points.
He's the Matthew McConaughey of the 70s.
I'm still paying off student loans, and I'm 52. So
yeah, but think of all the cool Soho bars you can go to.
Yeah. How about them apples?
South Houston, is that, I believe how you say it? Yeah. Shout out to our New York contingency. We have a fair amount of them up there, so when y'all do visit West, I'm looking at my Barstool crew.